Forced marriages were recorded in the West Midlands last year. That's thought to be just the tip of the iceberg. Hundreds more young women and sometimes young men are being made to marry against their will, often to distant relatives in South Asia whom they've never met.
If they refuse, they risk being disowned by their families or even killed. The government's looking at making forced marriage a criminal offence. And as delegates to a conference in Wolverhampton heard today, there's a push to raise awareness of the issue in schools. Sarah Falkland reports.
My brothers were up at my bedroom window throwing my clothes out onto the street. Why were they being like this?
When this play was first performed in schools in Staffordshire, a forced marriage protection order was taken out in the county for a girl who was just 9. Jasmine was 17 when her parents forced her to marry.
I've never been able to have relationships with boys, and the first time you're expecting me to is to a complete stranger who I've never known before. It was really difficult. They said that, oh, your family there, your parents there to love you and support you no matter what, and it was never like that. I always felt they had a duty of care to the community and their honour more than what they did their children.
There's no doubt that forced marriages, not to be confused with arranged marriages, are happening here in the UK, but nobody knows how widespread they are. The government says in 2011 there were around 1,500 cases, but they say in reality that figure's likely to be well over 5,000. Here in the West Midlands there were officially around 180 cases last year. Forced marriages, though, are linked to so-called honour crimes. Jasvinder Sanghera's family was so bound up with honour they disowned her when she refused to marry. The campaign group that she founded is now pushing for parliamentary debate on schools' involvement with the problem.
What families will do is they will use the holidays, we're in a holiday now, the Easter holidays around the corner, the summer holiday, as an opportunity to take them abroad, for them to meet their potential partner, to have that engagement ceremony or indeed be forced into a marriage. So schools are an opportunity to identify somebody missing and at risk of a forced marriage.
The government's hoping to outlaw forced marriages by the end of the year. What hope then for women experiencing it now?
To not suffer in silence, I think that's the biggest thing. It's just, I think a lot of people feel they have to for the sake of honour, and it's not the case at all. I mean, no one's saying you have to act on the information that you're given, but just to know it's there, I think, is a big help.
Joining us now is Detective Sergeant Trudy Runham from West Midlands Police. Thanks very much for coming in this evening. Trudy, you got the force's first forced marriage protection order, but how difficult is it for women and for men who find themselves in a situation like this?
It's extremely distressing for them, as you can imagine. They don't want to be in that situation. There's a lot of barriers for them. One of those may be that they bring shame on their family should they leave that situation. You know, and that's just not their immediate family. That can also be members of the community. It also has a ripple effect abroad in some circumstances with extended families there. They can self-harm, in the worst case is suicide. So there's a lot of barriers for us to overcome as police and other agencies to get support for them so they know that they have other options and that they've got somewhere to turn to.
And one of the issues that was mentioned at the conference today was the number of disabled people being forced to marry. Have you had experiences of cases like that?
I have had experience, and I think there's many reasons why this may be happening and why parents want them to be married. One of those reasons are very sincere, and that is that when they pass away, they want a carer, a long-term carer for their son or daughter, which as a human being you can absolutely understand. But that presents its own issues. If somebody hasn't got mental capacity and they're married off, they could be subject to abuse, such as sexual abuse. But there also may be reasons of immigration and financial gain. So there's lots of reasons, and there's lots of work for us to do to raise awareness with that issue.
And just finally, what difference would criminalising forced marriage make?
It gives us another tool. We don't know exactly what the legislation is going to look like at the moment, but we do know that it's really squarely put it on the map to say to perpetrators who force people into marriage, it's illegal, it's a criminal offence. The consequences can be that you get a custodial sentence, and it's certainly put a spotlight on a crime that generally sits in the darkness.
Trudy Runham, thank you very much for your time this evening. Thanks for coming in.